What is up, everybody? Hello, hello, people. We are here just a few minutes early. Decided we're just gonna get on into it here. We're gonna start about 15 minutes early. We were gonna go live, or I set the live stream by accident to 6:05 for some reason. We were gonna go live at 7, and then I just decided we're just gonna go live now. But anyways, friends, good to see you all. So we have a bit of an update on the tropics. There's been quite a bit of development here. Here, let me adjust my mic here. Been quite a bit of development since the last time we did an update with you guys. Got a new storm in the Atlantic, so we've been talking about this system for a little bit, but this is the first time that it's actually been a storm while we've discussed it. So it is now a tropical storm. What's up, Tracy? Good to see ya. What's up, Gabriel? Good to see you as well. We have Tabletop, we have Sleeveless, we have Silent, and of course everybody else who is just now joining. It is good to see you guys. But anyways, folks, well, let's go ahead and hop right over here. First of all, before we start, I want to go ahead and show you guys these storms that's popping off in New Mexico right now. Look at these guys. Got quite a nasty bit of hail. It even looked like it had a bit of a hook on it too there for a little bit. Probably an elevated supercell. Just figured I'd talk about it because, I mean, yeah, look at these valleys. This is like 74 dBz, 75 dBz. Yeah, it's still ongoing too. This is the latest scan here. I mean, we're still seeing upper 60, lower 70 decibels there. That's pretty crazy, though. This storm is quite a beast. Let's see. Max expected hail size, according to radar estimation, is 2¼ inches. It is warned for tennis ball size hail too. Tennis ball hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts here. Here, let's look at those upper levels here. Actually, I'm curious to see if it is elevated supercell, which I believe it is. Ooh, wow! It's like 60 knots up there, and that's 16,000 feet. That's not super impressive. Anyways, folks, good to see ya. Tabletop, I don't think so, dude. I think you're worrying for nothing again. Let's see here. Howdy from Tennessee. Good to see you, my friend. Hello from Florida. What's up, Divinely? Good to see ya. Anyways, but I figured I'd talk about that real quickly while everybody joins here. So let's hop over to the tropics now. Let's talk about Jerry. Jerry's a new storm here that's developed today. It is a tropical storm. Honestly, it looks pretty good. Here, let's hop down to the MDR satellite view. Wow, look at it now. Goodness. You know, this morning it was looking pretty healthy. You know, we did a video this morning kind of talking about the system. You know, it was definitely looking fairly healthy this morning, but my goodness, it looks like it's doing pretty well right now. I mean, yeah, we got some pretty deep convection going on here. Right now it is sustained at 50 miles an hour, central low down to 1,003. Going to continue northwest over the next few days. It is expected to become a hurricane here tomorrow afternoon. So this has it for 2 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, or Atlantic Standard, which would put it into, like I said, Category 1 hurricane strength here by tomorrow afternoon. Sustained winds of 75, which is low end. That's literally just being transitioned from tropical storm to hurricane. You know, wind gusts by that time will be right around 90 miles an hour or so. But it is going to continue working northwest. Now, I'm a little bit concerned for my folks out there by the Virgin Islands and, you know, in the Antilles we were talking about. The Hurricane Center, they finally... Here, let me bring this up over here real quickly. They finally brought up the... Here, let's... NHC. They finally actually added watches already to the system here. I mean, this thing is we already have some watches up there for some of the, what is this? I believe these are the Virgin Islands, yeah. These guys over here, this is out by St. Martin. Let's see here, Bartholomew? I have no idea how you say that one. And oh geez, that's a tough one. Okay, Angelilla? Oh, I totally messed that one up. What's this one? Barbuda? Okay, I can say that one. I know that one pretty well. Anyways, yeah, so Barbuda. We got Saint Martin, Saint Barthélemy, and Anguilla inside of the tropical storm watches. So that's in effect. You can see the yellow tropical storm watch here. So yeah. So as of right now, tropical storm conditions is there. Let's see here. Let's see here. Leaky says Saint Barths. Is that how you say that? Saint Barths? I don't know, man. Some of these are a little tricky to talk. A little bit tricky to name here. But anyways, yeah, we got tropical storm watches in effect here. We'll have to monitor that. Depends how close the system gets to those islands. Because the cone, I mean, yeah, for some of those islands out there, especially this guy over here, Barbuda, is still in that cone. So if the storm shifts further enough west, it could become a little bit more of a concern, maybe even in terms of hurricane activity. So we'll have to just kind of monitor that and see what happens here. So let's hop over to GFS here. We're going to take a peek at it. So GFS has it remaining pretty far away from those islands, thankfully. Still would likely be a bit of like a coastal concern, probably some rip currents and stuff like that would be a bit of an issue here overall, with an approach like that. But the good news is that, that would be probably outside of those tropical storm conditions here. Let's look at the surface winds here. Yeah, that would be just outside of tropical storm force winds if it went the GFS route. Pretty small storm, though. I mean, you could actually see just how big it is, like to compare to Florida. This thing is tiny. It is a tiny little storm. Now, the problem with tiny storms is that they can rapidly intensify. If the conditions are favorable, they can intensify very quickly. As opposed to a big storm that uses a lot of its energy on its size rather than rapid strengthening. A small storm can really, really, really kick off. Is it possible this year no hurricanes will touch the U.S. mainland? I mean, it's certainly possible, but, there's no way of telling right now. It just depends on nature. Because, things could pop up in a week or 2 weeks or whenever. We don't know. And we still have over a month of hurricane season left. I mean, we have until late November. And we're just in the beginning of October here, so. But I do think October is going to be pretty active here. What's up, Scott? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, so that's GFS, having it pull to the north a little bit. Yeah, here's Euro. Once again, I mentioned this earlier in the last two videos. I think Euro's severely underdoing this storm here. I mean, it shows the system like barely even a tropical storm. Barely even getting down into the 990 millibar range, which is pretty crazy. Maybe farther down in time it has it picking up. So, this system's a little bit tricky to forecast because we have a lot of moving parts here. So we have this high pressure system that's moving off the northeast United States here for the 10th, so in about 3 days. And then we're also watching a low that's developing off the southeast coast here. A pretty strong low it looks like could develop there. Huh. It's definitely interesting. Here, let's see what the GFS has it. Oh, yeah. They're both showing in the 990s, maybe the lower 990s. Definitely interesting. So, yeah, we got to watch out for that low here, too. It depends on how big, how strong, where it's at. Those are the three main things to really help determine its path here. Also, like I said, Bermuda needs to watch this pretty closely. GFS has it pulling east. Euro does too, which is good, but, it still could change. We're at the point now where it could still change quite a bit. CMC, it seems like the models might be trending north, which would be good for my folks that's like towards the Virgin Islands and stuff. But, like I mentioned here, the Hurricane Center's cone. I mean, they still have, Barbuda inside of the cone here, which could still be pretty close approach. And but you know what I will tell you guys though is that these models that you're about to see it. These models are severely in disagreement right now. I mean, here's the main hurricane models. You can just see how spread out. That's a new one. How spread out they are. You got a few models that show it going towards like the Virgin Islands and Barbuda, some of those islands out there, and then you got the majority of the grouping. I'd say about 80% of the models, just north and east of those islands there, which would be good. So that's good. But there is still a few models as they go west. But even then, it's still very spaced out here. Captain says no worries in Florida. Nah, not worried about Florida at all with this one here. More than likely this thing will, steer out to sea. I mean, majority of models, hurricane models and ensembles support that, so it's the most likely scenario. Likely will become. I don't want to call it a fish storm, because, like I said, this thing is getting pretty close to the land here, for one. Two, Bermuda also needs to watch this. There still is a chance the system could go out by Bermuda. It's too early to tell, though. Like I said, there's just so much uncertainty. Here's some models. Here's some ensembles here. GEFS. Got a few members going out west. Majority go east of Bermuda, which it seems like the main global models kind of mostly show that too, which is good. A little bit of agreement there, but still not where I'd like it to be. Here's the GPS. There's Bermuda right there, having all those members east. So kind of the best case scenario, which I hope plays out, the system works northwest, far away from the Antilles and the Virgin Islands, and far enough east of Bermuda. That would be the best case scenario. Worst case scenario would be the system continues going a little further west and directly has impacts on the Virgin Islands, Northern Antilles, some of those areas out there. But we will definitely keep an eye out there for it. Here's if I can if I can get it over here. Here is the intensity guidance. So this is the main hurricane models. This is the main models here that you guys can that we looked at here a minute ago. But this is on terms of intensity here. But yeah, all models obviously show the system tropical storm, because it is a tropical storm right now. But, we just kind of pick up a little bit of strength over time. But there's just such a big spread. Such a big spread here on the model still. Regarding the exact intensity of the system. It's just there's still a pretty big spread here. Some models support the thing becoming a pretty big storm. But majority has it just between like Cat 1 and tropical storm here. So We'll see what happens. All right, let's hop over to the main hurricane models here. Let's look at the HWRF, the HERF. We'll bring up the HERF model. A little bit of a disclaimer. This model is typically one of the more aggressive models, so don't be surprised if the system looks a little bit ugly on this model. It's... like I said, one of the more aggressive models here. What's up, Mark? Good to see you, man. So, working our way downtown. You can see the system rapidly goes from strengthening. Look at that. Like the next couple of days. I mean, yeah, once again, very, very aggressive model. This is kind of like worst case scenario. Wow, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, HWRF has that thing getting down into 930s, and that's right over... that is right over the Northern Antilles here. Let me... do I even dare look at it? Ooh, yeah. Let's hope not. That would be catastrophic if that happened, but let's hope not. Like I said, that's kind of the worst case scenario, but yeah, HWRF still shows a very strong storm. Kind of the strongest out of the models, to be honest. you know, shows that pressure down in the 930s and stuff like that. As well as, you know, has it a lot further west out there by the islands. So, what's up, Jim? Good to see you. Think you better get your firewood now. Yeah, it's good to prepare for the winter. Good to have it. I used to have a wood stove when I lived up in Virginia. Don't really have them down here in Florida. Well, some people do, but they don't get used nearly that much. Let's see here. How you doing, man? Hello, everybody. What's up? Good to see you. I'm doing pretty good. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of worst case scenario, so we'll see what happens with it. Let's look at HMON, the Haman model. We'll go back to 12 UTC. We have a new run coming through. Yeah, see, the HMON also suggests the system getting right up on these islands. The Virgin Islands, even close to Puerto Rico there. Look at that. Wow. Good news is it's not as strong as HWRF. Pretty small storm, though, like I said. Very, very compact system. And, you know, that could really aid in its overall strength, you know. Smaller the system, the easier it is to really pick up some strength. But the Haman HMON model does show quite a bit of, you know, tropical storm, maybe even hurricane force winds out by some of those islands there. A lot further west of an approach. HAFSA, let's see here. 12 UTC. Seems like these models really want this thing to go west. Like the main, like HWRF, HMON, HFSA, these all go right over these islands here. Has it really picking up strength once we past the Virgin Islands, you know, go through the Virgin Islands, north of Puerto Rico here. Wow. Here's HAFSB, 12 UTC run. Same thing, man. Not as significant as HAFSA, but still pretty ugly. What's up, Jesse? Good to see you, man. So yeah, HFSB wants to go in towards like some of those islands we talked about, so like yeah, Barbuda goes like right over Barbuda. So we'll see. We'll definitely watch it. We'll definitely continue to watch this. I mean, it seems like all these main hurricane models that we looked at, it's kind of weird because all of them really want this thing to go over those areas. But, you know, like we mentioned here, you know, the spaghetti models show a kind of a different story. Like, you know, here's the main spaghetti models. I know it's a little off the screen there, but, you know, you can see here, though. Is my mouse not showing up? That's weird. Here, let me bring it over here, maybe. There you go. But yeah, I mean, you can see majority of the models are over here. You know, just east, but there is a couple models. HFAI, HFBI, HMNI. Very, very interesting. Yeah, so, you know, we'll just have to watch it. Like I said, there's still a lot of disagreement here. Once again, here's the intensity guidance. You can see also very much uncertain of how the strength of the storm. Majority of models show it getting at least Cat 1. Cat 1 is certain at this point. Cat 2, Hurricane Center has it. Here, let's bring this up. Hurricane Center has Cat 2 in the forecast. It has it becoming a Cat 2 once we kind of pull north of the Antilles. And that's going to be on the 10th at 2 p.m., so kind of in the afternoon, roughly. That'll be becoming a Cat 2. Yeah, majority models keep it east of Bermuda, but still wouldn't ignore it if you're in Bermuda. You know, there still could be some big changes in the forecast between now and then. I mean, because by the time it approaches near Bermuda, it's going to be the 12th, and that's 5 days out. There can be big changes in 5 days in the tropics. Especially with a system like this, you know, like we mentioned, there's a lot of moving parts. You know, like here's the GFS model. What did it change? GFS model. So you got this high pressure up here, exiting Canada in the northeast, and then you have this low that develops off the U.S. southeast coast. You know, that could... You know what? We're going to have to really watch that low. Not just this system here, but we're going to have to watch this low that develops off the southeast coast. Kind of shows like a strong cyclone heading towards the mid-Atlantic northeast. Yeah. CMC is a lot further off the land there. Icon has it right next to Virginia. Yeah. See, that in itself is going to be something we need to look for. What's up, gamer? Saying hope everything is well. Watching from Puerto Rico right now. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I mean, if you're in Puerto Rico, I mean, I would watch it. There's no reason to be alarmed right now in Puerto Rico. You know, Hurricane Kona is a lot further east of Puerto Rico, but, you know, you got some of those models. We'll watch the trend. We'll see what happens with it. Yes, there is still room for changes. You know, there is still a lot of uncertainty right now, but we'll have to see what happens here. Let's go ahead and pull up our spaghetti models. I mean, you can just really see how, you know, how spread out these spaghetti models are, you know. You still got a handful that goes over the islands out here. You know, good 20% of them. And those are some of the main ones, too. Like we mentioned, like the HFSA, B, HMO, and HWRF, all those show a landfall or a direct impact on these islands. But yeah, just very, very much spread out right now. So we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop with everything. By the way, guys, if you're new to the channel, consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, check out our merch, y'all. We got some new merchandise. Got some pretty cool stuff here. Going to show you guys here real quickly our cool merch. I literally spent like a long time working on this here yesterday, or was it this morning? I don't even remember anymore, dude. But anyways, y'all check it out. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat if you guys want to check out our cool merchandise. Be greatly appreciated. But yeah, maybe I'll make a I survived the 2025 hurricane season shirt. Maybe. Here, let me go put that in chat for you guys. I know it's kind of a weird link. Streamlabs wanted me to pay like an extra $15 a month to have a specific link. I'm like, I ain't doing that. Heck no. Anyways, so we'll see what happens. You know, like I said, nothing's for sure right now. You know, we'll definitely just continue monitoring this here. You know, we'll keep you guys in the loop with everything. I'm going to definitely... So, here's the plan. We're going to do videos every day in the morning. So, sometime in the morning, sometime in the afternoon, we'll do a video for you guys. We'll have that out. Evenings, like now, we'll go live. And we'll do an update for you guys on, you know, all that. So, we'll definitely be here to help you guys out. And we'll keep you guys in the loop. But, you know, like we mentioned, there's just so much disagreement still. You know, there's a lot of moving parts here. You know, between this high pressure system going off the northeast coast and off eastern Canada, and this really strong low that develops there, you know, just off the southeast coast here. It's actually, you know what, the system gets developed from a cold front. So you see this high pressure air mass coming through, pushing cooler, drier air behind this cold front here. You got a main driver low up there by Newfoundland, and that low creates a cold front in which sparks that other low that develops there. Yeah. We're going to need to really watch that one too. What's up, Polly? How's everyone today? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing good yourself. Oh, also, before I forget, I do want to mention this with you guys. Hurricane Center also has a new area of development here in the Southern Gulf. Don't think it'll do a whole lot, but we'll watch it. Only 10% chance. Emmanuel says that patch and the notebook are dope. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a little bit of time. Did y'all see the WX flip-flops I have? I'm going to have to buy me some of those, actually. Dude, those are so cool, though. I love them. Yeah, like I said, I just completely overhauled everything. Oh, even the bag here, you can see I put my logo on it. Dude, I love it. Super cool. Drawstring bag. We even got like a Weather Channel themed rain jacket here. Got some new hats. Limited phone case. Got glasses. Even a flag. A beach towel. All kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, I need to pick me up some of these, though. Once again, y'all, the link there is in the chat if you guys want to check that out. Anyways, enough of that. I know you guys came here for updates. I'm not trying to... I don't want to advertise too much, but it does help us out, and it does help keep us rolling. So if you guys do want to check it out. Emmanuel. Man. Yeah, that's the bad thing, though, with the sandals, is that, like, when you're wearing them, you won't be able to see much of the radar. But anyways. But yeah, guys, like I said, we'll just watch it. Still a lot of disagreement here. That's kind of the final verdict here. Is there's just still a lot of unknown factors here, both in terms of strength and intensity. But, like we talked about, the HWRF, HMON, HAFSA, HAFSB, those all have this system going right over those islands there in the Virgin Islands, Northern Antilles, maybe even Puerto Rico. Intensity varies between Cat 1 and, like, the Doom models like the HWRF, which was more than likely not going to happen, but who knows? Can't rule it out completely. Showing like Cat 4, which that's not expected right now. I mean, you can literally see right now in the intensity guidance, you got to find the line of best fit here. It has it right kind of between Cat 1 near Cat 2, which, in the forecast here from the Hurricane Center, it does reach Cat 2, which it's going to reach Cat 2 here. Looks like on the afternoon of the 10th. So, about 3 days from now. And it'll actually be a hurricane tomorrow. Yeah, by the afternoon tomorrow, Hurricane Center has it becoming a Category 1, which, at the rate it's been developing, I am not surprised. I really am not surprised. Here, let's go ahead and load up the SAT view. There you go. Yeah, look at that deep convection there. Obviously, still way too early for an eye or anything like that, but right now, 1,003 millibars, 52 sustained. Obviously, we're probably gusting upwards of like 60 or 70 miles an hour right now. It doesn't show, but likely 10 to 20 above sustained. You think for Puerto Rico it's going to be rain from the system? Puerto Rico doesn't do too well with surplus amount of rain. That's fair. It's, it all just depends how close it gets. It really just depends how close the system gets. How big it is. Those are all huge factors. It looks like you guys are getting a bit of rain out here, though. And there's Puerto Rico. Yeah, I mean, it looks like some of these areas are already getting quite a bit of rain here. Do we have radar over here? Do. Oh yeah, it looks pretty rainy out here already. Tells me there's a lot of moisture. Look at that. That must be in mountains. All that clutter. Anyways. So we'll watch it. Also, we got another Cat 2 up here in the Eastern Pacific as well. Polly says, is it going to hit the U.S.? No. No. It's likely not going to cause any problem for the United States. The system's relatively small, too, so I don't think it would have a big footprint on the waves either. I mean, we could look at that, though. I'm curious, actually, to see what the models show. Yeah, so from the hurricane itself, there isn't going to be big waves in the U.S., but from that secondary low that develops off the U.S. East Coast by the mid-Atlantic, that could be a big significant problem for water. Still kind of different between the models, though. It's crazy. Like we mentioned earlier, guys, the system is very difficult. And this is why I really think that we have so much disagreement right now, is because, like we mentioned, there's a lot of moving parts. We have this high-pressure system rolling off the northeast coast, okay? Off of eastern Canada, off the northeast. And then, of course, there's a system right there you can see. This is CMC, by the way. And you can see around the time we get just east of Bermuda, a new low kind of develops according to this model. But it's not just this model. I mean, it's literally every other model. GFS shows it too. Euro shows it too. So, that low is going to develop. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hurricane Center put something on that, to be honest with you. That system's getting kicked off by this cold front here, which is very interesting. And you know what? That's actually a very common thing with fall systems. October, that's why we tend to get more tropical systems in the Caribbean and the Gulf, is because we get these low-pressure systems that develop in the U.S., and they spark cold fronts, which actually spark systems in these areas, or these bodies of water. So this is very common for this time of the year. That's what I'm worried about, though, for the rest of this month. And did I say year earlier? I'm sorry. That's what I'm worried about the rest of this month here. But right now, no impacts for the U.S., so don't worry about it. This is mostly going to be a bit of a concern for, obviously, the Virgin Islands, Northern Antilles, maybe Bermuda, but we'll see what happens out there. So ready for winter. You want 35 inches. Why specifically 35 inches? But throughout the season, I'll take 29 inches as a median. Okay, Emmanuel, I really want to know, why specifically 35 inches do you need? Like, would you be... I mean, you said you'll take 29. If it's 28 inches, would you be disappointed? I'm sorry. I just really wanted to... Why a specific number, dude? Oh, my goodness. Snow's pretty, but it's too cold, Snow happens when it's just too cold outside. You love winter. Me too, but... I lived up in Virginia for 19 years of my life, 2 years in Kentucky, and then the rest in Florida, which I'm at now. And I've adapted to Florida's warmth. So when it even gets remotely near, 40, 50 degrees, it's cold for me anymore. I used to be able to handle it like a champ, but I have such a pansy when it comes to cold weather now. It's sad. Let's see, 35 inches of snow at once. That'd be something. I had a storm like that once. So look up Jonas. Was it Jonas? Winter Storm Jonas, 2016. I think it happened in January. I think January, like 22nd of 2016. I was in Northern Virginia. It dropped like 3 foot of snow. Pretty crazy storm. You're raised in New Mexico. Love the snow. Love the cold. New Mexico gets a different kind of weather, though. You guys get like a lot of dry type of stuff. More bitter, cold stuff. Yeah. Anyways, a little bit off topic, but yeah. So, like I said, y'all, there's really not a whole lot more we can really talk about here. I mean, we basically went over everything. So I just wanted to hop on here with you guys this evening and do a little bit of an update. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, leaving a like. It'll be greatly appreciated. We'll keep you guys up to date, and we'll make sure you guys are staying safe out there. So tomorrow on the table, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning, we'll have a video out for you guys. I will do a video going over everything. Then whenever it comes to what is it? Tomorrow evening, we'll do another live for you guys here as well. They're going to drop the names for winter season soon. I think that's specifically a Weather Channel thing, though, isn't it? I don't think it's like government names, because I know hurricane names are government named because it's from the Hurricane Center, which is a government agency. But I think it's a little different with winter storms. I don't think the government gives them a name. I think it's just the private organization of the Weather Channel that does that. Anyways, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining. You guys take care. Sorry for the quick little live stream. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update here, and we'll make sure to keep you guys on the loop. By the way, if you guys are just tuning in, just restart the live stream, go back, and you guys can go over, look at everything we talked about. But alrighty, everybody, thanks for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day or night, I guess. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Once again, check out the merch, y'all. Here, let me go ahead and spam it in the chat again. Guys, check out our merch, please. It'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, like I said, I spent a lot of time working on this here last couple days, and I'll go ahead and give you guys a quick little preview once again. All right, go check it out. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See you later, everybody. Thanks for joining. Catch y'all later on.